next. Record button now, so I know it's on. But who's got something fun for the week? Something fun, something you actually finally did, some action you've taken, something. Nobody's done anything?
We've got a couple things. It's been a month since I've been on, but demoed a house in North Carolina, tore it down. That was fun. Closed on a reno. Got 4 rentals under contract and close on another rehab next Friday.
So these all sound like phenomenal updates for website content and social media content. Did we get all that together?
Not yet. Got a lot of good video of the demo. Got some good photos. Getting ready to talk to Isa, her little monthly thing, which for the social media, first time she sent it out last month, made me stop and think like, oh crap, I need to actually, gives me something to think about and actually pay attention to. To be more, I don't know.
Yeah, we started doing that last
organized.
That was the first month that we put that into place, and that is to kind of help Excel and the team, and to help you guys have kind of a little bit of a proactive approach to what's going out, right, on our social piece, because I'm actually going to talk a little bit about brand tonight, and that all ties together. So, but everything you just said, those videos of demo, phenomenal social teasers, social reels, IGTV type uploads, a lot of the other content in there, the updates, I would just do at least 1 to even 2 blog articles that are kind of like company updates type things that would be going to the site as some content traffic of, trafficable of pieces, but more or less I use those from a credibility standpoint, sales side of things. Those type of things are really great to send out to potential lenders. Hey, here's a link that you just happen to throw in this email to this potential lender. They can go check out some of the things that you've been doing in your business, right?
Right.
The more we can give people to look at with our business, the more credibility it instantly brings. So congrats, awesome job on that stuff. Now let's captivate. Let's take advantage of the assets that you've put together with that. Who else got something in the last week? I'm just going to start randomly calling on some people. I'm going to start with my pissed off sister, Sophia.
We actually went under contract on our second reno. Sorry for the kid in the background, but
that's just the CEO talking. I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's some exciting stuff that happened. So I'm gonna, take some videos on that, and hopefully put some more stuff on our website.
Awesome. Mickey, I see your comment. Sophia's happy, not mad. I was just picking on her. So Mickey, you're next.
Okay, so I did work a lot on our about video and all. And so because our company is a combination of 3 families and we wanted to throw kids into it, some of the kids are toddlers. And it was just such a mess. My son got bit by, I think, a bee or something right in the video. So we had like this take of him live being like stung by it. But at the same time, that's just the right clip that I want, because I couldn't redo, because after that he was in tears and all swollen and all. It was an intense 3 hours, but we made it. So I'm excited to finally have something to put on a website.
I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be lots of fun, actually. Lots of fun.
Love it. Let's see. John, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on with John May?
I'm trying to get direct mail sent out and call rail set up for our stuff, and trying to get an acquisitions guy to get on board to answer the phone, set appointments, that type of stuff. And because my full-time job is taking over right now. We've got trainings. It's summertime for all our missionaries to come back, so we're full doing that. So I'm just trying to leverage getting the other people going, and then try to get some of this social media stuff going too.
Love it. I love seeing the walkthrough Roger did on your site. In just a very short time, you're already killing it over there. So definitely worth capitalizing on that. Terry, let's hear from you.
Trying to get educated on Section 8. We've got a 55 and older under contract with a Section 8 renter in it. And with all the virus and can't kick people out routines going on, it's like, all right, so we're trying to do our due diligence. We just had the inspection done yesterday. So we're trying to figure out forward or not, or in there. And she's a hoarder along with that. So, I mean, the deal's good. It's just how much hassle we want to deal with it.
Yep.
Once it closes. So
Problem is, I've known you for years, and you've been trying to get educated.
working on it. Not a problem.
Yeah, we have 4 Section 8 houses, and we're getting 2 more townhouses Friday or Thursday. So that point of contact and raising rent, there's a process for each organization and authority they go through.
Well, we're trying to get her out so we can rehab it and sell it. Agent's been to the Section 8 housing offices and they don't even know what the hell's going on. So
here's a huge opportunity for content right here, right? If you haven't picked up on this, everything we do, I look at how do I leverage it from a marketing and sales tool. How many of you guys follow Gary Vee? How many of you know who Gary Vee is? I see Yvonne shaking your head no. You must be living under a rock or never on YouTube. Because that's about the only way you would not see Gary Vee. If for everybody else that knows who he is, follow him. You've heard him talk about this like crazy: document, don't create. All right, that methodology and that mindset of just document everything. Terry, this whole process that you're going through, this kind of goes back to what I just told Eric, right? They did all this work, they demoed a house, they acquired some of this other stuff. Documentation of what's going on in your business. Sometimes that's through video wise, sometimes that's through just documenting a process and sitting down and thinking about like all the challenges that you went through. This whole thing for you, it's something new, right? Therefore, you're learning a lot. Documenting the different hurdles that you had to work yourself through, because the next time you come up against this type of situation, by having that documented in a way where maybe it's a video recap of this scenario, maybe it's a blog recap of this scenario, maybe it's just something that we put into the site somehow. This is what starts to bring that like I've already been there, done that. I know the process. I know what we had to do before. That's what makes you the expert versus them going and working with a different investor that has never dealt with this. But there's a big difference between another seller coming to you in the future, let's say in that exact same 55 and older community with the exact same scenario, and you just saying, oh yeah, I went through it, versus being able to say, I went through it. Here's some of the stuff that we had to deal with. Here's some of the things that you could do to help the whole process out ahead of time. Go check out this blog article that we have. Go check out this video recap of it, right? Instant credibility boost. It's what I love about that methodology and mindset of document, don't create. You guys are living experiences every day that make sense to be used in a content form to boost your credibility digitally. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it could be, Terry, right now, you may not know what that looks like, but when you're having some of these phone calls, you're talking to different attorneys, you're checking out different videos online, right? Whatever the case is, maybe you set up your phone and just record what's happening. Record the conversation. Video yourself going through and talking about what are some of these things that I got to do. And when it's all said and done, you'll have this compilation of basically assets that then we can look at and dissect and say, what's the best strategy now? What's the best use for all of this? That make sense, Derek?
Yep.
Mhm.
Mickey, you got a question on that?
I was gonna say, I love that also because when you're creating, like we're in the process of creating master classes, it makes it so much easier when you have all this documentation that's been done, recorded, because you may think that you're gonna remember, but we don't remember that much. There's just so many things that happen in our daily lives that we will forget for sure.
100%. Did somebody else have something on that? I don't think so. Okay. All right, real quick, I want to kick it over to Face. Haven't seen you in forever. Let's hear an update. What's going on?
Not much. How you guys doing? I'm working on not being in my business, working off of my business. So instead of working in it, I'm working on my business in the sense of I'm moving myself to Florida and having my business run independently without me being there.
For those of you that don't know, that means Face live in Florida, business operates in Manhattan,
Correct.
not down the street.
No.
How's everything else going?
Good, not bad. Business is picking up. I did a few trial runs by being in Florida for more than just 4 days. I'm actually here now for 15 days, and business is smooth and sailing the way it needs to be. So I keep adding to my trip every time I come out here. So I started off with 4 days, then I extended it to 6 days, 10 days, and now I'm at 15 days. Next thing is to try it for a whole month, and I want to see how it goes without me being there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Love it. All right, Liz, Marie, you guys been awfully quiet. I'll finally let you talk.
I'm just glad Marie's back and that tomorrow we actually get to be back together. So
Marie, she missed you.
it's
You don't really want to hear about my last week. It's been a shit show of a week. A whole lot of drama, sick people in hospitals. It's been a whole mess. So yeah, I'm just happy to be back and getting things going. Although Liz, I did order some yellow letters for our new propane campaign, so I got something done. Even yeah.
Well,
So.
and so I'm excited that we're back. We kind of had a bummer, you know, had a good lead last week that we talked about that you know, with somebody on a follow-up, and it's not working out right now. It still doesn't mean it couldn't down the road, but we're putting together a new ebook and a new program. And what you guys just said, you know, like we should start talking about it and putting that out there that something is coming, something new is coming, something new is coming. So I wrote that down. So tomorrow when she and I are finally together again, we can do that, start putting a few teasers together on, you know, what this new program is that we're building and we're working on. So that was great. So it's exciting.
Is this where I should throw the teaser out that I'm in the process of writing my second book?
Oh, yes, see, that's very good.
Since you said teasers.
Yeah.
All right. Question. How many of you guys caught the live recording of the podcast either last week or through the weekend in the group? John did. Anybody else?
I watched part of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
All right. So John, you can stay on the call. Everybody else has to leave. Yvonne, you're allowed on for part of the call.
Okay.
Now, John, what did I talk about?
Figures you'd ask.
That's why you went and watched it.
No, I remember posting a bunch of stuff. You were looking at going on to different social media platforms that you hadn't really looked at, that you felt like you wasn't capitalizing on some things. So you said it's time to just cut the losses and jump in and start doing what you need to do massive action and document and try to just get it going again.
Absolutely. That's a very good preface recap, kind of a general gist recap of the whole thing. Before I get into why and what platforms, why, obviously I did a podcast, but I'm going to go a lot deeper into some of the information tonight with you guys because you're our clients versus just in a 45-minute podcast piece on it. I want to circle it back to, it's a live video that I did over on Instagram earlier in the week, last week. And if you guys aren't following me on some of these different platforms, you're missing out on the little snippets of information throughout the course of weeks on it, and trying to rely solely on just if Shawn actually brings something up on one of these training calls for it. But on this live video that I did on Instagram earlier in the week, I talked about brand awareness, brand recognition, however you want to say it. Your business is a brand. For some of us, we are the brand face of that business, right? I look at someone like Liz and Marie. It's really hard to say there's this real estate specialist company in Phoenix that isn't Liz and Marie, but it's this company called Liz and Marie, right? It's kind of hard to not tie their face, who they are as individuals, to that, because they've brought themselves front and center as like, we are the brand, right? Whereas someone like Mickey with Ack and Dev, well, who is Ack and Dev, right? Unless you know it's Mickey, Aisa, Kendrick, and the Wilson and the rest of the team, right? And Israel, we won't leave Israel out. Unless you knew all of the members of Akin, the brand is Akin Developers, right? Your business has to have that brand recognition. It is your job as the business owner to build the brand. In Liz and Marie's case, it's their job to build them as the brand, front and center, right? Because that is what they've chosen to do. For Mickey's case, for Terry's case, right? And for some of us others on the call right now, our business image is the brand. And what are we doing to build that brand trust? What do I mean by brand trust? What do I mean by why do we need to build the brand? How many of you guys would see a symbol, the Nike symbol, and immediately think something about Nike that you know? Coca-Cola. We see that image and we immediately start thinking something we know, right? Whether we like it or don't like it. We either have strong brand ties, brand recognition on the positive side, or we have brand hatred, brand discouragement or dislike from a negative standpoint to the brand. We don't have these ties to the CEOs and founders and presidents of Nike and Coca-Cola and Amazon and Facebook. We have it to the image of the company, right? So brand, when we start looking at content marketing, when we look at online, first off, we already know that, and if you haven't been paying attention and you don't realize this, the traditional forms of marketing, direct mail, cold calling, signage, these door knocking, chamber of commerce networking, these old school methodologies, they're dying. And even in a kind of somewhat post-COVID, as things are starting to restrict less, open up, we're seeing less and less and less of this style of marketing coming back into the picture. The overwhelming majority of marketing today is happening in this digital footprint. So they only can build this brand recognition and brand trust with your brand based on the information that what? What do you think?
You provide.
That you provide, that you're willing, that your brand is willing to put out there. It's really hard for the consumers, prospects. Most of you guys are real estate here. Your sellers, because that's ideally who we're going after here. It's really hard for those sellers to know who you are, know who this brand is, get to like him, trust it, get bought in, right? I go back to dating all the time, feel comfortable enough going on date number 1 if you don't put any content out there. You're basically trying to blind date your prospects when we don't focus on building the brand. Does this part make sense so far? So what makes up the brand? Simple answer is everything. Every bit of information that goes out. Things on your website, photos, content, social posts, knowledge, processes, anything that is front facing to the prospect ties into who the brand is. How many of you guys have ever been on a website where you feel like you got zero information out of that website? It didn't really help you in any way, and you went and found a different website. You went and found a different service provider or different company, right, to help you in it. We've all experienced that, right? Now ask yourselves, how many times has a seller done that same exact process on your website or with your business? It hurts a little bit, doesn't it? Stings a little bit to think that there's probably some sellers out there. There's probably some of my ideal audience, my ideal clients, who would love to have done business with me had they known a little bit more about how to do business with me, or what my expertise was, or why they should trust me. Face, I'm going to throw you on the spot just because I've missed having you on these calls. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay.
The very first time you saw your wife, a photo, saw her in person, I don't know that deep into the story. Where was the very first time that you laid eyes on what she looked like? What was your thoughts?
She's the one.
Why?
Because of her actions.
So tell me the story so I can build off it.
We met at a family friend's house, and her dad's handicapped, as you know. Well, he's late passed. And she was actually putting his shoes on to take him out. So I said to myself, if she's doing that to him, she'll go the extra mile for me if something was to happen to me.
Does she put your shoes on before you leave the house now?
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, we got to work on that. But to the point, her brand, right, that she let out there with a stranger. You guys had never met before?
No.
First time ever?
It was the first time ever, yes.
Could it very easily been like, I don't want to show that side. I don't know what he might think.
Could have, but she was herself, and her actions spoke louder than any words. So,
and through that process of you seeing that, you were bought in.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, love at first sight, cool. That's the honeymoon side of things. Things have to kind of progress from there, right?
We got to know each other a lot more.
But that was an action that said, hey, I want to talk to her a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I want to get to know more about her. I want to know what other things like that she's willing to do that are amazing in this world, right? That align more with, and if you guys, many of you guys don't know Face at a very deep level that I do, they carry a lot of the same similar traits, very family oriented, very caring, very loving, right? Very cares more about others than himself. Peace. Now, had her actions been the opposite, her dad needs to go outside and nobody's taking care of him and nobody wants to do anything with it. He's asking for somebody to help him get his shoes on, and she just walks by. Is that going to be as powerful of a statement, right? As powerful of a brand connection
Right.
between Face and his now wife at that time?
Right. You know what's crazy? They say that opposites attract, but me and my wife are so similar in, being so selfless and selfish. It's crazy how we are on like the same wavelength when it comes to not only in our personal life and also business. It's like we are already like completing our own sentences, and it's very hard to work with your wife, let alone, being a business partner with her. But so far we've been doing it for the past 6 years, and we've not butt heads because we want the same goals. We're trying to achieve the same goals, and our thinking and our thought process is in the same wavelength, which is really hard to find these days. Like,
How many of you guys have ever had customers, people you've done business with, that it feels that way?
Yeah.
See a couple of you guys shaking your heads. I know we have, right? There's some of you guys on this call, vast majority of you. That's why you guys show up. It just feels like we're all on the same wavelength. We're all trying to do the same thing, right? We're all trying to achieve greater results and get better and take business to another level.
that was one of the reasons why I started being one of your clients, is because you saw what I was trying to achieve, and I saw what you were trying to achieve, and the end result and the end goal was to get bigger and better and to grow.
I appreciate that. So this brand this brand discussion, right? It comes down to what are you putting out there? Because this could be the one piece that's keeping people from actually taking the next steps and wanting to communicate with you about doing business with you. Not necessarily because you're putting out bad intentions, right? I've done this talk from more of a sales side, but I'm going to try to do my best to help kind of flip the script on it. Who's heard of the concept in NLP, stimulus and response? There's always a response to a stimuli, right? In sales, stimulus is language, but everything is stimulus going out, and every stimulus out has a set predetermined response back to it. If we were all in face to face right now and I reached out and put my hand in front of, let's say, Face, I just put my hand in front of him like this, what's the natural reaction? What's the natural response to the stimulus? He's going to want to grab my hand and shake it, right? If I just stood here and didn't say a word and smiled from ear to ear, eventually all of you would start to what?
To smile.
Some of you would do it out of uncomfortability. Like, I'm very uncomfortable that Shawn's not talking, just standing there smiling. I'm getting nervous, right? It might be more of a nervous, but your natural response is going to be to smile. Now, if I got on this call and was pissed off as all hell and I looked like I was ready to kill somebody, what's your response? Be a little timid, be a little scared, right? You might even hit the end button. I'm out. I don't want to be on this thing, right? So everything has a equal or kind of predetermined response back to the stimulus going out. And this is the big question that I was looking at from our end, which led me into the bigger discussion piece here. What is the stimulus that we're putting out? What is the brand message that we're putting out? What is going out that's attracting the pieces back? And from a marketing side of the business, this is where the bread is made. Eric, all those videos, all that stuff that you're talking about, that ties to the brand, right? It's who the business is and what you guys do. And there's probably some gold buried in those videos somewhere with something that you do on your demo process that makes somebody feel a little more safe about the way that you guys demo houses. Maybe there's something that I know something we used to do a ton of was salvage and keep very kind of intricate elements to a home, not just destroy everything, right? If we could kind of refurbish and bring something back that was more charming to the original home, we would do that to it. And that was something that our market fell in love with, the brand House to Home. We take houses and turn them into true homes because we brought this in. Now, how did they learn that about us? Content, the videos, the information that we would put out. We bought windows locally. We would talk about that all the time. We bought we sourced products that were local to our area. Why? It was part of the brand. It was who we were. It was what we wanted out there in the world of our marketplace for them to understand the difference between working with us and somebody else. Now, the fact that I would get on a call for 9.5 hours with Bank of America on behalf of somebody to help them figure out a foreclosure process that we weren't even under contract yet. But having kind of that case study style element it was more of a blog format at that time, explaining the situation that went on, that helped a lot of other people tie in and say, you know what, House to Home, which then later got associated, and Shawn, Nathan, Aaron, all of us owners became more known as that brand. We'd be recognized in town as, oh, that's the guy from House to Home. That's the guy from House to Home. But you see how it was built off of the back of House to Home first. Now, the flip side of that, TRC. How did TRC get built? It was built off of the fact that I had built a brand for myself over the years. That Shawn himself was the expert in this area and is an expert in this area and has the skill set and the knowledge base to do this. And it wasn't just because I did it for myself, but I had been doing it with others. And a lot of you guys know me through that time of building that out. And did I have some help getting that brand boost by having a bigger brand, in a sense, kind of put their staple and say, we trust him, therefore what? Go ahead, hit unmute, Mickey.
We'll do business with you.
Exactly. And this is what Roger and I talk about all the time. When other brands are talking about you, it starts to build this trust. So all of this leads me, this whole brand discussion piece leads me to, I was sitting back the other day and I was starting to look at some of the outlets that we use to consistently build the TRC brand on. And we've got a number of different platforms. A few of them are more, how do I want to put it? More forward-facing kind of shotgun approach, and that is social media, right? Unless we're dialing it in with ads and going to a targeted audience, just a normal post on social platforms, very shotgun approach. You're not really sure who is going to see it, when they're going to see it, what of the stuff that you're putting out is out there, which is why Gary Vee's mentality is put 100 freaking pieces out there a day all over the place. Somebody's going to see something somewhere. How people like Yvonne don't know who Gary Vee is when he's putting out hundreds of pieces of content a day across platforms is phenomenal, right? But those are more of a shotgun approach. Now we have other ones that are very dialed in and targeted. I contribute monthly to an email or a magazine that's specific to real estate investors. Well, all the content that I put into that is very specific to real estate based marketing in it. I've got other outlets for other sides of things. But I started to look at what is the outlet? What are the things that are going on right now in the space that are helping build brands? And as I started to study and dig deeper in seeing some of the shifts that individuals like the Gary Vees of the world who have large brands, where are they shifting their attention to? What are they paying attention to? What are some of the bigger companies paying attention to keep moving this thing forward More importantly, where are the consumers going? The people who the whole purpose of us putting all of this stuff out and building the brand is for them to freaking see it. Where are they at? And I started to sit back and really study this and look at it over the last almost month now, really paying attention to it. And some of these platforms I laughed at when they started. I thought for sure they would die off. It'd just be another fad. And there's no, years ago, people told us get on Snapchat. It's the next greatest thing. Well, where's Snapchat at? It's a bunch of 15, 16-year-old kids, playing around with it. However, and it's still trying to find its little identity and stuff. However, one of these platforms was a behemoth that's been around for forever, and that is LinkedIn. And LinkedIn suddenly, over the last couple months, has found, not even the last couple months, almost the last year, has suddenly found its identity of what it's really designed for. When it first came out, it was kind of it's a professional site. It's more for the person with the W-2. Sure, you entrepreneurs, you can kind of use it for this, this, and this. Us real estate folks, we kind of were like, you can maybe find some funds, some money on that. LinkedIn's kind of adjusted and shifted itself, and it's become its own little identity from an entrepreneur standpoint, and a place for you to really put out your expertise, right? It's more the formalized content, almost like blog posting goes social media. But the crazy part about LinkedIn, when I really started to pay attention to it, how many, Liz, Marie, you guys might be the only ones. Space, possibly. I don't know if you were dabbling with it. Who is on Facebook? LinkedIn. Who is on Facebook as a business in like 2012, 13, 14, other than myself? Face, you were? So when Facebook pages started to become a thing in like 2012, 13, 14, all I had to do was put a post on Facebook business page, share it to my personal page, and if you liked my business page or were following me, we had a friend request to each other, you were going to see that post. It was showing up in your feed. Through the years, the amount of information on Facebook has grown substantially higher than the amount of people looking for that information. So when there's more information than what people are actually looking for, does it become easier or harder to get your information found?
Harder.
Harder. So what's happened? Organic reach on Facebook has dropped. The only real way to get information on a business page in front of people and really use it as a lead generator is to put what behind it?
Paid money.
Paid money, and really dial it into an audience. Well,
but you can't just, I've learned with Facebook, you can't just throw money in there. You got to have it targeted to a specific, because Facebook has become so big. If you just throw in money, it's just going to go to waste. You got to target the actual audience that you're trying to get.
Absolutely. So to look at a platform like Facebook and go, well, that was my big kind of lead generator for us. It was a huge element to us in 2012, 13, 14. We were able to build pretty quick just off of a Facebook page. Facebook page and a half-assed website, you were golden in those days. Things have changed, right? Well, when I look at LinkedIn now and just studying it and paying attention to it, and Gary Vee is like a big leader on this piece of it, talking about it, the organic reach of LinkedIn today is the Facebook of 2012. And I didn't just listen to it. I've put some posts out over the last month over on my LinkedIn page, put them on TRC's page, played with it a little bit, figuring it out a little bit more from kind of where are they at now, what type of content should I be sharing? And for us, it's really around this knowledge base when it comes to marketing, SEO, website ranking, getting a service-based company visible online. And I'm telling you, compared to what it used to be, way more organic eyeballs are seeing that than if I put that exact same style post over on Facebook. So I started, all right, let's take a deeper dive into this. What's the next hottest platform out there right now?
TikTok.
Tickety Talk. Now, when TikTok first started, I laughed at it like crazy. I said it'll never be a business platform. It's just some place for everybody to dance and look like stupid idiots and do stupid videos on it and have fun and whatever the case. And I swore up and down I would never even get the damn profile and platform. And I didn't for like 6 months. And then Deanna showed me something and I had to download the platform just to see something. And then before you know it, I have the platform and I'm sitting there watching it at 11 o'clock at night when I can't sleep. And I call it, I'm watching TV. And I'm just scrolling aimlessly through these stupid things. But then I started studying some of the hashtags and some of the things that are inside of there and the way that some people are using it from a business side and how quickly I can do a video on the Dakine channel that I started about Kratom and in like 2 days have a couple 100,000 views on this thing. And it was like, whoa, what the heck's going on here? Started studying into the platform a little bit more and started to realize this is where the generation that most of us are targeting. For you real estate folks, what are they? They're your buyers. What are they? They want all the fun, fancy, nice stuff at the end. Where does it make sense to use TikTok in our marketing strategy? Before and after, during renovations, the transformation process. Because that ties them into the what? You get them hooked on your brand while they watch you go through this process. That when all of a sudden it's done and now you put a nice little call to action in there and drive them to a website for the rest of the detail, but because they've consumed so much awareness level content from you around your real estate stuff. Most of the people I follow on TikTok, they're all building out vans and all these other things, the van lifestyle, the RV lifestyle, the stuff that Deanna and I are into. This is real estate. And then the final one that really kind of, I literally laughed at it. I'm not 100% sure where things, and I see Mickey, you put in there, what about Pinterest? Pinterest is kind of falling into that same category as Facebook and Instagram right now. It's overly saturated with content. And the amount of people looking on Pinterest for that content is low in comparison to the amount. I talked about this in the podcast. I use the phrase land grab of attention. Where is the ease of attention? As a marketer for your business, this is what you should always be paying attention to. I don't care how well X, Y, and Z has worked in the past. If it's easier to get those same results or more using a different strategy, why would you not take it? And here's the one reason why I hear why. Because I'm used to putting something, I'll just use Pinterest as the example. I'm used to putting something up on Pinterest, Shawn, and I get a couple pings on it and I get somebody to my website and they opt in. If I shift away from that, it'll take me a little bit longer to build up that brand recognition and that following and that trust on that new platform. So I'll have this dip in time where people won't be paying attention to me and instantly gratifying my desire for a result. But in the long run, where's going to be better? And this is what led me to the final one. I really didn't think this final platform, from a real estate side, I would challenge it. I'm going to throw it out as an option. I'd love to see a couple of you guys try it. Face, even with the printing side, it would be a unique thing, especially if events could come back to the level that they were at nationwide. But that was Clubhouse is the final one. And this one I haven't paid too much attention to, but I am committed and it's on my calendar going forward. Every single Wednesday, I'm going to host a Clubhouse room and I'm going to see what happens. There may be weeks nobody joins the damn thing. Who cares? There may be weeks that some people do. Hopefully you guys join it just for more knowledge and be able to learn more on it. But Clubhouse, from that expertise piece, and Kim, I see you said what happened to WebBuzz. WebBuzz is actually going to go into Clubhouse at one element to it, but it's not stopping from what we also have done. We took a pause because Roger's entire house is on a ship at the moment. So it's a little hard for him to do a podcast when all he has is his laptop and that's it on there. And he's moving all over the place. That's why he's not on the call tonight, by the way. He is literally turning over his house and going to a hotel for the next week and a half, and then he will be flying to Hawaii on there. So, but Clubhouse is going to be a thing. I'm gonna start hosting a room. Why Clubhouse? It's the virtual stage, is the way I'm looking at it. It's the virtual event. However, if you guys as real estate experts this would be a challenge I would throw out. Pick one day and time throughout the course of the week for 35, 45 minutes that you're going to start a room and you're going to be the Liz and Marie show. Get all of your local Phoenix real estate trends, whatever kind of show, right? And for an hour, you two get on there and who knows who joins in. You just start talking all things Phoenix real estate. Mickey, all things Baltimore, DC, Metro real estate, right? Face, all things printing. It's not on camera. It's an audio thing. It's a phone call, basically, is what you're having on it. The land grab of attention on there, because of how easy it is for people to just bounce in to rooms and scroll through and find things that they want to tune into. But I used to say this all the time when I'd be at the front of the room teaching and speaking. He who is at the front of the room asking questions and driving the conversation holds all the power. Not you, the person sitting in the audience with all the knowledge under the sun. Because why? Nobody knows you have all that knowledge. You need to be out there, and I see some of you guys chiming in with, is it an iPhone only thing? I believe Clubhouse is only on Apple currently. It is not an Android thing, which is very interesting, right? That it happens to be that way, that it's only iPhone. Wonder why. iPhone's the dominating phone, the brand out there. But maybe that means you got to go get an iPhone. I don't know. But this is why I'm going to take now. Does that mean I'm canceling out all the other stuff that I was doing? No. I'm just not putting as much attention into what is, does what the information going out on Facebook and Instagram, which were my two big platforms up to this point, does that information stay true and tied to the brand? Absolutely. Keep it moving forward on that front. But it's more of an awareness piece. It's more just so that those people that still are the truest to those platforms, they don't think that something died out, right? It's constantly staying there. But my main shift, where most of the energy, 80% or so of the marketing energy for TRC, is going to go into how do we take the things that we were doing before that worked and get them into these platforms that have a much larger audience and an easier ability to get in front of that audience, because that means I can get them to the website faster. That means I can get them into our ecosystem faster. I can get them into our lead magnets quicker. I can get those lead magnets in front of people faster. And that right there is the entire job of you guys, business owners, and the head of your marketing. Your job is to get eyeballs on you. And if you don't want to be out in front as the brand, then guess what? The business has to build its brand, which means you have to be able to tell the story of who the brand is. Who is the business? Who is the brand of Geico? Who is it?
That little lizard.
That little gecko lizard thing, right? We never seen a human face, right? It's a talking, walking, fun ass lizard. That's the Geico brand. So it doesn't need to be you, but it needs to build that story. That people need to be entrusting and attracted to who it is. And in 2021, they're here, they're on tablets, and they're on computers. Very few listen to the radio. How many of you guys listen to like actual local radio stations in your cars? Eric, Yvonne?
I'm old.
I was just gonna say, kind of makes sense. A little older crowd. Terry's like, I still haven't found FM. I'm on AM
Sports
channel.
radio, AM.
See, I knew it. Marie, what do you listen to?
Well, I'm usually listening to my own iTunes. But I have a question for you related to Clubhouse. Do you think that it's going to be useful for us for finding sellers or just networking with other investors, or
It's simply to build
Just
the
brand
expertise
awareness?
of Liz and Marie in Phoenix.
Okay.
Now, just think if you had a clubhouse room, they set up weekly, and you set a awareness campaign on Facebook about the room, talking about cash buyers, what it is, the pros, the cons, kind of elaborating on your small video, 4-minute video. Now make that 30 minutes, and you spend 15 minutes of that reviewing what it is, then talking Q&A and just kind of room discussion.
Absolutely.
That's what I was
Great idea.
about.
Great idea. And I love what you just said, promoting it over on Facebook. Right? Talking, because if we've already got a little audience there, if I've already got a little audience on the Instagram side, if I've got a little audience in my email database, if I've got an audience and I'm putting on some stuff over on LinkedIn, do you see how I can start to tie all of these together, promoting and pushing the different pieces? The number one thing I think any business can do today to start generating authority for who you are and showcasing your knowledge and expertise to build the brand, it's a weekly podcast. Kim, Mickey, you guys have been like 3 months now on a weekly side. Not that the real estate view drives seller leads, but what has it done for you guys in your space, in your networks, just because you've been consistently showing up, showcasing your knowledge?
So much authority. So we had like other investors reach out to us to be on their show, just to interview us. We also had like, wholesalers in Baltimore that I didn't know them, that they will call us with their leads, not without even building their relationship. Because with others, I had to build relationship over the time in order for me to have like the 24 hours before the other people. So now I'm getting all of that without having to build that relationship.
And Kim, you kind of said the same thing. I see it in the comments. Build
Yeah,
credibility
yeah.
with other investors. Go ahead. If you're
Yeah,
unmuted.
we have a ton of people reaching out to us in our DMs, just trying to work with us. A lot of JVs and stuff like that.
And I'll be honest, guys, they get like 3-4 people that join it live.
Sometimes it's more.
It's not much that gets it live, but it's the continual consistency, showing up, speaking their knowledge, their skill set, right? In all of it, that is opening these doors to it. And you guys have been doing it on a very small scale. Right? One show a week, and there really isn't much post-marketing, post-promotion of it. So it's just the residual of what naturally is happening through algorithm, through the typical people that follow you and pay attention, and it's starting to kind of filter out, right? Questions? I'm going to end my rant right there.
Out of curiosity, what platforms is that podcast being pushed to?
Post-wise, nothing currently, because they haven't even started uploading them to YouTube or pushing all the audios out to the podcast players yet.
Okay, but it's on Facebook Live. Is it also on Instagram at the same time?
Nope.
No.
Just Facebook Live?
Just Facebook Live, and it stays out there on Facebook Live afterwards for now. And they've been sharing it to their personal pages and that kind of stuff, or sharing maybe to groups that they're part of or something like
Yeah.
that. Final thing I'm going to end with, and then I will open it up for questions, or if you guys have thoughts and you want to brainstorm around something. Final piece that I'm going to throw out here, though, is at the end of the day, you need to find what you are comfortable with. If you don't want to be the face of the brand, meaning you don't want to be on video all the time, because then it feels like, well, this is Shawn and Shawn's brand, not TRC, right? As the brand. Then don't be video all the time. But that doesn't mean that you don't do video. It just means you're not on the video. It means you've got to be creative and figure out how else can I put video content out that doesn't involve me being the face of it, the talking lizard, right? The mascot of the business. Somebody else in your business that is okay kind of putting a face to it. Because just because you don't want to be on camera doesn't mean video doesn't work. Video is the best way to build brand recognition, brand trust, and build that know, like, and trust factor with humans. Why? People do business with people, not businesses. They want to connect somehow to do the business. However, you need to also find what fits your creative safety zone. Maybe you love to write, then good. Be writing a ton of blog articles, and you can buy animated videos that speak those same bullet points. If you're the type that's more creative graphically, and you like to put images together, you like to do the fun, flashy, social media posts, then great. Maybe on your social strategies, that's what you are responsible for, is creating the actual graphics and imagery of it, because that's your way of being able to express your knowledge and expertise. If you're Terry and you're really good at caveman drawings and stick figures, then you know what? That actually could be really cool. As part of the brand's theory is these stick figures with Terry's head bobbling around on it or something. I don't know.
With crayons.
With crayons. Maybe you eating the crayon or something. I don't know. The point is, you need to figure out what makes sense to you. Can we outsource all of this stuff? Absolutely not. Those of you that are working with TRC social side or other social media managers, in the space and that kind of stuff, that is truly drip awareness level of your marketing. That is what keeps things consistent when you're inconsistent with the stuff that you, as the kind of the controller, needs to be thinking of. Can we give them things to use? Absolutely. You shoot a video and you send that over, absolutely, that's going to get used. We can't shoot that video though, right? A social media manager that you hire can't shoot that video because, well, let's face it, not everybody's as good looking and as handsome as Eric. It's going to take Eric getting on camera to have that face, right? I'm just jealous. I don't know what you're drinking.
Just a little old fashioned.
There we go.
I keep telling him he needs to be the face of the brand and he won't do it.
No.
No, I was just picking on them, but you get the point, right? We need this. We need these things to be consistent everywhere, but we also need to think from. I'm the bus driver. I'm the controller of this ship. I've got to put out my expertise, and I got to think, how do I put it out that fits me, right? Mickey obviously loved doing videos. Liz and Marie loved doing videos. Shawn loves to do videos. Why? It's easy. It's natural. I don't care. I don't get scared of a camera. I don't get scared of what other people are going to say about me or think of me or look at me. Don't ask me to write. Can I bullshit my way through 5, 6, 7, 800 words? Absolutely, I can. Is it going to be anything worthwhile to read? No. The articles that I write for the Think Realty magazine, I don't write them. I bullet point out my points and what I really want clearly defined, and we send that over to the team and let the team write it. Huh. Our writers write that stuff. Why? They make it sound a whole lot better than I can ever make it sound.
Wait, didn't you say you're writing your second book?
Yeah, and I won't even write the book.
Who writes it?
I'll speak it.
Okay.
And record it while I speak it. And then I will send that over to a writer to then take that manuscript that would get like a D if I were to turn it in as an English paper. And they will massage it and make it an A.
Oh, that's awesome. I like it.
Why? Because they can take my thoughts and reword them in a more articulated fashion for reading than I can.
Are you gonna do an audio version?
This one I probably will right out of the gate because this one is, I don't want to give too much away just yet.
Oh,
This one is literally on the marketing side. It is.
that will be fun.
It's.
You can
kind of
stop
this-
recording now.
What's that?
So you can stop recording and then tell us about it.
Actually, that's a good point.
Give us the juice.